The Vanishing Spirit, Magic Among Skyscrapers. Hinaki lived in a bustling metropolis. A city where the hum of engines, flashing billboards, and towering skyscrapers seemed to swallow everything human. Every day was a blur, working her shift at a cozy coffee shop on the outskirts, dodging hurried commuters, and going home to her small apartment. Hinaki was no ordinary girl, though. She had a rare gift: she could understand the language of animals. It wasn't something she flaunted. In a city where everyone was busy chasing their dreams, talking to stray cats and pigeons wasn't particularly useful. Her closest friend was Aoi, a clever street fox with fiery orange fur who often brought her news from the urban wildlife. One evening, as Hinaki locked up the shop and prepared to head home, Aoi bolted toward her, darting between her legs. "He's gone." "Who's gone, Aoi?" she asked, balancing her bag of leftovers. "Ethan. The spirit of the city. He's vanished." Hinaki blinked, trying to process the fox's words. Ethan, the mysterious spirit. She had only glimpsed once during a moonlit stroll in the park. His presence had been otherworldly, with glowing blue eyes and an aura that seemed to hum with the city's rhythm. "What do you mean, vanished?" Hinaki asked, crouching to Aoi's level. "The city's magic is fading. Don't you feel it? The cracks in the streets, the flickering lights, they're signs. If we don't find him, the city will collapse." It sounded insane, but Hinaki couldn't ignore the signs. The usually lively city felt off. "All right," she said, slinging her bag over her shoulder. "Where do we start?" Aoi's ears twitched. "The industrial district. That's where the whispers lead." The industrial district was a relic of the past. Abandoned factories and warehouses, their steel skeletons overtaken by graffiti and rust. The air here smelled of metal and decay, a stark contrast to the polished glass of the city center. As Hinaki wandered deeper into the district, she heard footsteps behind her. Whirling around, she came face to face with a tall figure. The young man had dark, unruly hair and wore a long, tattered coat. His silver glasses gleamed under the faint moonlight. "Are you following me?" he asked, his voice cold. "No," Hinaki shot back, narrowing her eyes. "Are you following me?" The man sighed, clearly annoyed. "Leave. This place isn't safe for someone like you." "Someone like me?" she echoed, crossing her arms. "Look, if you know anything about the spirit of the city, you'd better start talking." The man froze, then gave her a long, appraising look. "I'm Kai," he finally said. "And I know why you're here. Ethan's magic is fading because someone, or something, is trying to sever the city's connection to its roots. If you want to help, fine. But don't get in my way. Hinaki didn't like his attitude, but she didn't have time to argue. Then lead the way, Kai. Let's find him. Kai led Hinaki to an old warehouse. Its windows shattered and doors barely hanging on their hinges. Inside, the air was thick with tension. Symbols painted on the walls began to glow faintly as they entered. What is this place? Hinaki asked, her voice echoing. An anchor point, Kai said, scanning the room. These symbols, glyphs, are barriers to trap Ithan's energy. Whoever set this up knows what they're doing. Suddenly, a low rumble shook the ground. A mechanical creature emerged from the shadows. Its body a chaotic fusion of scrap, metal and gears. Its eyes glowing red. Stay back, Kai ordered, stepping in front of her. The creature lunged, but Hinaki felt a strange pull. Closing her eyes, she focused on the hum of the city. The way it pulsed beneath her feet. Wait, she said, stepping forward. It's not attacking us, it's protecting something. Kai hesitated, but the creature stopped its advance. Tilting its head as if recognizing her. You're right, Kai admitted reluctantly. It's guarding the way forward. Hinaki placed her hand on the creature's cold, metal surface. The red in its eyes faded to a soft blue. And it stepped aside, revealing a hidden passage. How did you do that? Kai asked, staring at her in disbelief. I just listened, she said simply. Deeper inside, they found Ithan. He floated in the center of the room, suspended by golden threads that shimmered with an unnatural glow. His eyes were closed, his body limp. And the room thrummed with a low, ominous energy. Those threads are draining his power, Kai said, studying the scene. If we don't act fast, he'll disappear completely, and so will the city's magic. What do we do? Hinaki asked, feeling a surge of fear. Kai adjusted his glasses, which began to emit a faint light. We break the seal. I'll handle the glyphs. But you'll need to connect with Ithan. You have a bond with the city. It's the only way to reach him. Hinaki hesitated, overwhelmed by the responsibility. But then she thought of Aoi, of the animals. Of the city that had always been her home. All right, she said, her voice steady. Kai began tracing the glowing symbols on the walls, muttering under his breath. Hinaki stepped closer to Ithan, focusing on the energy around her. She closed her eyes, feeling the heartbeat of the city. Wake up, Ithan, she whispered. The golden threads began to fray, and Ithan's eyes fluttered open. His glowing gaze met hers, and a faint smile crossed his face. You found me, he said weakly. Before they could celebrate, a deep voice echoed through the room. Well done, but you're too late. A figure in a dark cloak stepped out of the shadows, their face hidden by a mask. Dark energy swirled around them, and the air grew heavy. "Who are you?" Kai demanded, stepping protectively in front of Hinaki. "The one who will destroy this fragile balance you're trying so hard to protect." The figure replied. With a wave of their hand, the room began to shake. With a wave of their hand, the room began to shake. Pieces of the ceiling crumbled, and the golden threads snapped back into place around Ethan. "No!" Hinaki cried, reaching out. Kai acted quickly, activating a protective barrier around them. The cloaked figure sneered before vanishing into the darkness, leaving only their chilling laughter behind. When the dust settled, Ethan was free, but his energy was weak. The city was safe for now, but the threat was far from over. "We need to stop them," Hinaki said, determination burning in her eyes. "We need to stop them," Hinaki said, determination burning in her eyes. Kai adjusted his glasses and nodded. "This isn't over. Whoever they are, they'll strike again. Then we'll fight together," she said firmly. Kai smirked, a hint of admiration in his gaze. "You're tougher than you look." And so, their unlikely alliance was born, a girl with a connection to the city's spirit. A mage who guarded its secrets, and the spirit himself. Together, they prepared to face the shadowy figure threatening their world. Knowing this was only the beginning of their story,